The following story is also available as a read-only version. Check the link in the description if you're interested. Though not the first to set foot on the Red Planet, the Japanese were the first to establish a permanent settlement here. Even today, 93 years after Igarashi Aki had planted the Nishiki on the spot where Tsuchiru Garden, the largest city on Mars, would sprout over the decades, its traditions permeated every facet of Martian culture. Most famous in popular fiction of Earth, Mars and beyond were the cargo samurai, the customs agents that protected Kisei from humanity's most dangerous invention, firearms. One of these men was Ivo Veltzman, whose parents had sought refuge with the Red Mother when they were fleeing wars in their respective home countries. Like all Martian natives, he was tall, very tall. His dispassionate brown eyes and harsh, mask-like features gave him the appearance people expected from most fictional cargo samurai, and he knew it. Today he was employing his school stoicism to properly screen a group of wary refugees who had arrived in a battered can of a spaceship 2 days ago. The passengers were quiet, reserved, and nervous, but something was wrong with them. Ivor could feel it in his gut, and his gut wasn't known for its dishonesty. That day, when he entered the small holding dome reserved for his particular vessel, he was greeted by the ship's pilot. He was short, even for an Earthling, and had green eyes behind which there seemed to be no soul. It was unusual, though not unheard of, for traffickers to actually land on Mars. Usually they dropped several containers in orbit for the stations to pick up. Sometimes the people in them suffocated, long before they could be reeled to the safety of a space station. The fact that this particular trafficker had piloted the ship to a rough landing on the ground could only mean one thing. He was a refugee himself, fleeing from Earth authorities. It was all the same to Ivor, though he did have to consider whether such a potentially dangerous individual was to be allowed on Kisei. "We've been waiting very long, sir. Many hours," the trafficker informed him in an accent that was difficult to place. "These people are tired. They just want to begin their new life." Ivor nodded, expressed his empathy for the situation, and ignored the man. His customers were an odd bunch. They were mostly young men, though a number of women were among them. And though they did seem weakened from the month-long journey through deep space, they seemed much more strong and vital than the usual mint of people seeking a new life on Mars. Their muscles seemed to have atrophied little, and their hawkish eyes were alert not out of fear, but out of discipline. Ivor told his subordinates to fan out, form 3 queues, and catalogue each of the refugees with biometric scans and a collection of their personal details. With the information blockade that Earth governments had sanctioned Kisei with, they would not be able to search any police databases, but at least they would be registered in some system. In the meantime, he directed his attention toward their ship. Like any vessel designed to travel long distances in space, it was well shielded against all kinds of radiation, and, unfortunately, the magical scanning technology many of the poorly researched films and manga portrayed cargo samurai having access to did not exist. Thus, Ivor had to search the ship the old-fashioned way. Inside, the reason for the fitness of the refugees became obvious. Not only did they have training equipment, but also access to ubiquitous amounts of dietary supplements. They were usually given to astronauts on deep space deployments. Come to think of it, this vessel very much looked like something one would find patrolling the inner solar system. Ivor asked the trafficker inside. "Why is there so much protein juice aboard your ship?" he asked. "These people want to do manual labor. They think that if they are strong, like an Earth person should be, They will have an advantage finding work here, he explained sheepishly. If they had the money to purchase this type of transport, why did they not come here on one of the regular immigration ships? It's not all that expensive if you know the right people, the trafficker winked. Besides, a ticket on those luxury liners is very expensive. I have good fares. He wasn't even trying to hide his less than honorable profession. Thank you. You may return to your passengers now, said Ivor, looking to the ground to find an activated e-reader. It was open on the 7th chapter of Mars is for Men, Surviving on the Red Planet, and elaborated on how one could extract water from several different types of icy rocks with jury-rigged equipment. The book gave Ivor pause, but did not surprise him. The ever-nagging detective's instinct in the back of his mind did find something to be off. This room was not large enough. Of course, fuel tanks could be big, but not that big. For this apparent upper class of poor refugees, this space was simply too crammed. And then he saw it. A gap between two panels, unnoticeably thin save for the small spot where they didn't align right. A secret door to a secret compartment. He pressed down on it, half expecting it to be a proper cargo hold where he would find more muscle-building nutrient packs and personal effects. What he found instead made him freeze on the spot. This place was an arsenal. Landmines, hand grenades, and shaped charges could be found alongside SMGs, sniper and assault rifles, shotguns, pistols, and combat knives. There was also a sizable collection of body armor, survival packs, combat scanners, thermal and night vision goggles, portable pressure tents, and scouting drones. How could anyone be this brazen? This was both the largest and most poorly concealed attempt to smuggle firearms onto Mars of all time. Before Ivor could act, the cabin came to life, and a woman's voice began to speak. Hello there, you're probably wondering why we would do something so stupid. After all, smuggling so many weapons and soldiers who know how to wield them past one of the legendary cargo samurai is supposed to be impossible. Well, it isn't for us. Ivor pulled his comm from his chest pocket. Right now, a thermonuclear warhead is headed for the Deimos listening post. It will impact in about 30 seconds and kill all personnel stationed there. Yes, we do have a battleship stationed in Martian orbit, and we will not hesitate to use it. Today you will have the chance to save hundreds of thousands of lives, because a second warhead is headed right for Phobos Terminal. Ivor grunted. Phobos was the primary arrival and departure point for anyone traveling to Mars. Some called it the Ellis Island of the Red Planet. It was full of people. If you clear this vessel and the people in it, the nuke will be called off and explode somewhere in deep space. We will then take over the sad excuse you have for a planetary government and ensure a peaceful transition of power to the rightful authorities. Earth authorities. Kasei does not belong to you, said Ivor, his voice wavering with rage. It does now. If you fail to comply with our demands, we will start an invasion, targeting key infrastructure first. We will be ruthless in taking what's ours. The deaths on Phobos and Deimos will be nothing compared to what will be coming. All because you were too proud. The voice let the words rest for half a moment. You have 20 seconds to comply. The choice was obvious. There could only be one way, the hard way. Though many tears would be cried for the dead, his loyalty was to Kasei and its people wanted to be free. Taser in hand, Ivor marched outside and incapacitated the trafficker, who was chatting to one of his subordinates. "Arrest them! Arrest them all!" he commanded. That very moment, the A-bomb hit Deimos' listening post. 377 military personnel were vaporized in an instant. "The moon needs to be evacuated now! Nuclear weapons are headed their way! Earth is attacking!" In his subordinates, he was looking at perplexed faces. In the Earthling ground troops, he was looking at people who were switching to Plan B. Despite being trained warriors, every single one of Ivor Veldsman's unit died that day, including the cargo samurai himself. It was 7 of them against 30 of the much stronger Earthlings. Thus began the First Great War for Mars. If you liked this story and would like to hear more, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. A new short story is uploaded every Wednesday, and there will occasionally be another one in between if I find the time. Thank you very much for listening and have a great day.